Thanks so much for coming back to the SkinartJ Tattoos YouTube channel. My name is Alana, and I'm joined today, as always, by Jay. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to prepare for a tattoo. And as always, I have a fun little quote for today. A picture is a poem without words. And that was said by an ancient philosopher, Horace. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like a picture is a poem without words?
I could agree with that because it evokes emotions. It evokes something internally for everyone. And once again, depending on the perception of the individual who is intaking that information, they're going to have a different response compared to others. So I'd think that it is poetry, another art form for artwork.
I love that. So a tattooed body, a body with many tattoos, is like a poetry book.
It has a lot of stories, a lot of memories, and a lot of ideas behind what inspired them to paint their body in a specific way.
I love that. And as always, I have a fun little story and fact today. In South Korea, only doctors are allowed to tattoo on patients. However, recent changes to this law has included beauticians that are able to apply for a tattoo license, but this is only to apply permanent makeup. That's really interesting. South Korea is really becoming a little bit more lenient in recent years.
A little bit. And it's interesting to see how popular permanent makeup has become across the industry in general.
Mm-hmm. I saw a video the other day of a person applying permanent blush. I hadn't seen that one before.
I can't say I've seen that one. I don't know if I would agree with that.
I'm not sure I would like the blush. I like to be able to change my appearance up, but I guess you can always put foundation over the blush if you don't like it that particular day.
It still would impact the material that you'd have to use to be able to now cover something that's within the skin cells, like changing the colors and figuring out how to mute that and what complements. So it's interesting. That's a pretty bold decision.
It's not for me, but I do love the ability to not have to do a lot to get ready. I'm a wash and wear girl myself. So if I can skip a step or two in the morning, I'm all about that.
Just another wild idea that we're creating more permanent look on ourselves. Because like makeup's been with us for centuries, and back in the day, it used to be all natural stuff where it's charcoal or berries to get certain pigments. And now we have been able to either incorporate that or mimic it in a very similar sense. So having it now become more permanent into our skin, it's fascinating how far we'll go with what we'll do to alter our appearance.
Yeah, it's true. However, I like tattoos on my skin. Someone wants tattoos on their face to get them the look that they want. I think it's the same thing, just done differently.
Exactly. And it's just a fascinating concept that we have now turned it into modifying the beauty standards of applying the makeup and stuff, because it's very similar in that sense of a lot of the concepts that you're using to enhance something or alter it to make it a different appearance. So now we're going from creating visual pictures or some type of movement on the body to now more of our facial structure, which is also a neat idea that we're going in that direction.
Yeah. And I also wonder, the winged eyeliner is really popular. People are getting that permanently tattooed on their bodies. In 5-10 years, when the winged eyeliner look is no longer in
popular
vogue, what are people going to do? Are they just going to say, I love my retro look, or will they try and get it changed into the next fad?
Well, will they embrace it, or are they going to go through procedures to, example, do laser removal and stuff to then get it redone? Like, that's the interesting part, is at what extent do we continue going down that avenue to change or alter our body, to at what point is it to how one might perceive it, is it enough or is it too much?
Right.
And that becomes a controversial topic.
Interesting food for thought.
It is.
Well, today's topic is how to prepare for a tattoo. And you're going to help educate all of us on what we should be doing before our next tattoo, whether it's your first tattoo or your 10th, 11th, 12th tattoo. So the first question we have today is, should people be arriving early for their tattoo? Jay?
I personally do like when a person arrives like 5-10 minutes early to get their paperwork and stuff done. Otherwise, if they arrive exactly on time, if you can be that punctual, amazing. I'm personally not someone that is exactly to the dot, but I do appreciate it because I do value my time. So I value someone else's time for them coming in and getting ready for something that they have already prepaid for in a deposit form, to then having themselves also mentally prepared, knowing that this is the time, just like you would have any other appointment date set up, example, going to the dentist or something. You are expecting to show up exactly when you are meant to be there. So I very much hold it to that standard, as it is just like anything else, a business. And I like to be punctual with that.
Excellent. I know we've talked in the past about how we're both sort of, if we're not 10, 15 minutes early, we're late.
Yes.
I think when you're getting a tattoo, you'd want to arrive a little bit early anyway. Just get yourself situated, relaxed, maybe have a cup of tea while you're waiting. I couldn't imagine just walking in and going right into a tattoo. I need that like 5-10 minutes of buffer just to relax and get ready.
That's more of the speed or atmosphere I like to create as well. Is I want to be relaxed while creating the art piece, and I want the person that's coming in to also be relaxed. They're going to have a much better experience, in my opinion. Like, they're going to be able to have their muscles and their tension in their body a lot less. They're going to be able to have that ability to sit longer because their mental mindset's more prepared for it. So it's something that I strongly encourage, and that's how I want to set it up. So that is something that I do value when someone does make that time. If it's not valued, as with many things, there's consequences.
Right. Well, thanks for that. Should someone eat a big meal right before their next tattoo?
I do suggest that people eat a meal, ideally a very healthy, balanced meal before coming in, because that nutrition is going to sustain them through the session. It's going to allow their body to have that energy. And it also prevents, most times, not always, people from having too low blood sugar and crashing and ended up fainting. So I like to avoid that. So I rather them have their body in the best state possible before coming through.
Great. And speaking of low blood sugar, do you recommend people bring snacks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
I do let people know that we have a little refrigerator and that there is space for them to hold their belongings, so that if we need to take a break and just have a quick snack and stuff to get more energy back into the body, then we will take the required time to do so, because once again, we are honoring what the body is telling us.
Great. And what do you suggest for those mid-tattoo snacks?
Sandwiches are great. Easy to, of course, get a little more filling from that. But other snacks like granola bars or the little kid packets that you can get with like the little gummies and stuff, something that is going to boost that blood sugar and hopefully keep your stomach full, which is going to allow you to sit a lot better and a lot more still through the session.
Great. So not just plain sugar to keep your blood sugar up, but something that will also nourish your body and keep you full.
Yes.
Well, that's great to know. Thank you so much. The next question I have is, should people be under the influence of drugs or alcohol while they get their tattoo?
I personally will turn them away. I don't want to have to navigate through a situation where they do have a lot of that going on for themselves, because it, for me, makes it very uncomfortable to now try to decipher what it is that they're even wanting, and also knowing that they're in their clearest mindset, that they are fully consenting to what is about to happen.
Right.
I do hear a lot of stories where people are like, I was drunk in Vegas and I was 3 sheets to the wind and I got this $10 tattoo. It doesn't look great, but it's funny. And it's like, it is funny in the same stance as you have pointed out. There's something you dislike about it, and that is on your body.
And isn't it true that because alcohol is a blood thinner, that they could actually get injured if they're under the influence of alcohol and they get a tattoo? Is that right?
Yes. With it thinning out the blood, it can actually stop a session completely, where you can be starting an outline and they're just bleeding way too much. It's the same kind of concept of being on blood thinners too, where need doctor's consent. And if the body is not capable of sustaining or going through the process, I have to honor that and I have to put a stop to it for the safety of that person. And if someone wants to risk that and they're spending a good amount to get what they are receiving, I would like to think that they are equally as serious showing up with taking care of their body, knowing that their body is going under a transformation.
Right. Excellent. No drugs, no alcohol, not just for safety's sake, but to make sure that they're in their right mind, getting the tattoo that they want.
Yes. Consent and just safety all around for my sake and for their sake.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much for that. The next question that we have is it important to be well rested before a tattoo?
Yes. Just like anything, rest has been proven through science studies multiple times that it is going to help you mentally function better and also your body to recuperate better. So I always strongly suggest that a person gets ideally 7 to 8 hours of sleep before coming into their session, just so that they're well recouped and can get through things. And once again, it's going to reduce that stress on their body. It's going to allow them to be a little more higher pain tolerance. And it's just overall going to be a better experience.
Excellent. So get those sleeps in before your tattoo. I love that. The next question that I have today is, what should a person bring with them to their tattoo appointment? Should they bring a water bottle, a blanket, comfort items? What do you suggest and what do you see?
I commonly suggest always bring water. Staying hydrated is huge for your body. Once again, it's going to help you through that session. It's going to help your body have that retention that we want to see. And otherwise, I tell people to bring stuff that's going to be comforting. We do provide pillows that can be sanitized. Otherwise, if they want to stay warm, because if they're anything like me when I get tattooed, it's a little chilling. So bring the blanket, stay warmer, bring slippers if you want, be comfy, be in comfortable clothes that is loose fitting and is able to give ready access to that artist to be able to tattoo the spot that they're looking for. Because example, if you're wearing Lululemon and you're getting it, say, on your leg, that makes it very challenging. At that point, there's really one option of exposing that leg, which is going pantless. And at that point, are you comfortable doing that? If you are, awesome. If you're not, definitely a different choice of clothing article is a lot more appreciated and a lot better for that session.
I hadn't even thought that clothing choice is that important. Yeah, if you're getting something on your shoulder or your back, the shirt you wear is going to have a huge impact on once that tattoo is done and you have to get ready to go, how the clothes are going to cover you and how much you want to expose getting it tattooed in the first place.
A lot of things with the comfort factor, yeah.
Excellent. That's great to know. I know that my very first tattoo ever was on my foot, and I didn't even consider the shoe choice when I was leaving. And I went to put my shoes back on, and I went, I guess I'm going to go barefoot. Luckily, I just had to go to the car. And then I was driven back home where I could get better shoes for the rest of my healing process.
Yes, swelling does happen with certain areas for sure. And I've also had that experience of being surprised that my foot did not fit my shoes after.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that I got that tattoo on my foot in May when a little bit less coverage of a shoe was possible. I didn't want to be walking with a winter boot all winter with a foot tattoo healing.
It would have been a little sensitive.
A little bit, yeah. Excellent. The next question that I have today is, how should you dress for your tattoo? I know we just talked about that, but are there any other factors to consider when you're choosing what to wear for your tattoo?
White is commonly not a color I would suggest bringing.
Good idea.
We are artists. We will do our best to, keep as clean as we can potentially be. In the same stance, there is points where stencil can get on articles of clothing, and white likes to absorb a lot of color. So then that same scenario, if you're wearing something that's tight fitted and it's white and it's in the area that you're getting tattooed, it makes it that much more challenging to try to not be worried about getting ink or stencil on their tattoo. And I've seen it many of times where people will state that they're going to be so careful, that they're going to do the best job, but then they don't think, like, example, they bend a certain way and then it touched that shirt and now they have that print on the shirt. And it's like, that is something I try to warn people of, is, once again, very loose fitting clothing, comfort for sure, and probably not your brightest colors to bring to a session, just as you're weeping and you have the plasma and blood coming out.
Yeah, you should wear something that is maybe not your most formal and best clothes.
Yes. Don't come with a suit and tie. We are not expecting you to be suit and tie.
Nice. It's a little bit more of a casual environment.
Yes.
Love that. Thanks so much. The next question is, what information do you share with your tattoo clients before the tattoo as well as afterwards?
So before the tattoo, I share with them their image that they're getting, make sure that we're on the same page, that everything is fine as what they want it to be. Then it's expressing my next steps. I like to be very verbal about what is next to be happening. So telling them, like, we're going to be going to the bed, we're going to be prepping your skin, we're going to put the stencil on, and just guiding them through the process and being very vocal about what's happening. So they're not just in limbo wondering, like, what's this? And then answering any questions that they might have in between. Sometimes people do like to have more formal conversations and get to know the artist a little bit. Sometimes people like a little quieter of a session where they don't want to talk. My basic practice is just making sure that they know what is the next step that's going to be occurring, so that they can at least be at ease for the most part leading up to the session itself.
Excellent. And during the tattoo, I know that a lot of the times people come in with the expectation that they're going to complete a tattoo. Will you communicate as the tattoo goes on if you're going to be able to complete it, if they'll need to come in for another session or for color? How does that process work?
Yes. So while I'm tattooing them, of course, it's a rough estimation that we give people. We don't give them the exact, this is going to take exactly this long, because until I'm actually doing something and engaging with that person, there's many factors at play on whether they can sit still, whether or not they need a lot of breaks. There's a lot of things in between. So at that point, it does gauge how long that session's going to be. So I'll give a rough estimation based on generalization of what I think it should take. If it does take longer, I will stop and communicate with them and ask them, like, is this something that you are prepared for with your budget? If not, not a problem. We can book a separate session so that you're able to come back and get it completed when we both can continue on the process. I have heard some artists not be in favor of that. In the same stance, I don't believe shorting yourself because you're not able to be a mind reader or be able to pinpoint precise example. It took you 3 hours and 16 minutes. Well, because it took you 16 instead of 15 minutes, is that now wrong? I don't believe it is. It's simply another form of communication, and it's allowing a person to know where they're at with that person. I'm not here to waste their time. I'm not going to lollygag per se or take extensive amount of breaks smoking and going and taking half hour to talk to like the next door neighbor or something. I'm going to be invested in that process. I'm there to show up equally as they are. So at that point, I'm going to give them the best of my knowledge for what's occurring during that moment.
Perfect. And do people need to bring government-issued ID when they come get a tattoo? Is that important to have identification?
They must have it to be able to get tattooed. If they don't have any government-issued ID, the process cannot continue forward. It has to be paused until they are able to provide that.
Excellent. And do they need to bring that every time they come in for a tattoo? Let's say you have to finish on another day. Do they have to bring that back with them?
Yes.
And sign another waiver?
Yeah, a brand new waiver every single time that they're getting tattooed. They're signing the waiver and putting that information down.
Fantastic. That's important. So don't forget your identification when you go get your tattoo. The next question that I have is, how should people be prepared for a tattoo with the day that they have? You mentioned getting some sleep and getting some good food in their body. What else should they do? Should they have a relaxing day? Should they bring in headphones with relaxing music? What do you suggest? In a perfect scenario, you're going to get a tattoo that day. What should that day look like?
Night before, get a great sleep, eat good food, don't drink. Come to the session on time. Make sure you eat that morning of or before that session. Example, if it's later in the day, be hydrated. Bring stuff with you if you want entertainment other than talking to your artists. So if you want to bring your phone, not a problem. If you want to listen to your own stuff, I ask that people bring headphones because for me to have multiple sounds go on just overstimulates my brain, and then I find it more challenging to focus, and I don't like hearing a whole bunch of different videos playing while there's also music. So I do ask people to bring headphones, or if they want to bring an iPad and bring headphones, by all means, we can arrange things to set it up for them as long as they can sit still. There is points where if a person is unable to sit still while using their devices, there will be a point that I will ask them to put it away.
That's great. I don't think many people really understand when they're texting on their device or when they're playing a game, they're actually moving their whole body. I can't imagine that I would be able to text or play a game on my phone or iPad while getting a tattoo, but that's just something to consider as well. If your main entertainment is playing a game, you may not be able to do that.
Very much so, yeah.
Excellent. And so you are able to talk to a client about what they need, whether they want to have a chat with you while they're getting tattooed, if they want to listen to your music or have something else going on through earphones. Is that right?
Yeah, options. So once again, if they don't want to talk to me, I'm okay with that. I can have a silent session and just listen to music. There will be some type of ambient noise going on in the background just so that there is other people that are comfortable as well. It is, the concept is an open studio that I'm at currently. So there's other factors at consideration, but if they want something more personal, they're more than welcome to bring their own earbuds or headsets to be able to listen to that. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to talk to them and listen to their stories of what inspires them to come in, and then depending on their comfort level of how much they want to share.
Excellent. And when people are getting that tattoo, if they're wearing earbuds, you will be asking them some questions and communicating. So you'll need to get them to like take those earbuds out while that communication is happening, correct?
Yeah. So if they do have headphones in and they aren't able to hear me, my go-to is tapping on the body part that I'm working on, so that they can at least get a sensation that I'm trying to grab their attention. Because some people kind of go into a meditative state where they close their eyes and they're gone. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to shout at you and I'm not going to pull out your earphones, because to me that would make me uncomfortable. So I'll just tap lightly to try to get their attention and then wait for them to respond before I continue forward.
Excellent. That's definitely describing me in a tattoo session. I just get into the zone and I'm gone. Have you ever had someone fall asleep in a tattoo before?
I have. I had a gentleman, I was working on his belly button.
Belly button.
It was his first tattoo. It was his belly button. He did get some numbing cream, so that helped him out. He full on was snoring. It was a first for me. It was very surprising. And there was a couple times I woke him up and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm having the best sleep. Like, this is great." And I was like, "I'm just going to keep waking you up. I can't have you full on sleep, but like, I'm going to check in with you and make sure that you're okay."
I guess that adrenaline just kind of soothes some people.
It can. Once again, if a person's sleep deprived or they have a lot of stressors and stuff going on, sometimes it's very therapeutic for them to get tattooed, and it allows their body to go more into a restful state, which is fascinating. So a lot of people that I've experienced have stated that like it's very therapeutic and that they can fall asleep.
Wow. I know I kind of go into a meditative state myself, but I couldn't imagine falling asleep. That's getting a tattoo. And isn't the belly button a normally sensitive area, or is
Very
that
sensitive.
Oh, and he was just snoring away.
Yeah.
I love that. Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, that's all the questions that I have today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us a little bit more about what people should be doing when they get their tattoo. Thanks for tuning in to the SkinartJ YouTube channel. My name is Alana and this has been Jay. If you're interested in booking a consultation or even looking at some flash tattoos, please check out www.SkinartJTattoos.com and head over to SkinartJ's Instagram at SkinartJ. And contact Jay for a booking. She'd love to get you in and ink you up. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.